Starting with number 23, UCLA beating Colorado 28-16 in Pasadena. What's great about this is that the defense did its job if you're Colorado. Like, it's the worst defense in all of football in regard to giving up yardage. It's like 473 a game coming into this one against UCLA. And then you got 4 turnovers in the first half, right? You got 2 picks from Travis Hunter in the first half. And then Shiloh Sanders put a hit on Carson Steele that had him fumble the football, right? That's 2 fumbles in the first half. And then apparently Shiloh Sanders throwing his shoulder at Carson Ryan's shoulder is enough to get him ejected for targeting. You keep looking at that play, and it's really difficult to see how it is targeting. Didn't seem to hit him in the head or neck area. Didn't seem to lead with the crown of the helmet. Really, he got up and flexed on it afterward, and that might have been a personal foul based on, unsportsmanlike conduct, but that's not what you're going to throw the dude out for. They threw him out for what I thought was a terrible call, and really, I think most people would say the same. But more than that, you took one of the playmakers for the Colorado defense off the field, the guy that they think is their best safety back there, and you're really kind of hobbling him. I think between Shiloh Sanders, Trevor Woods back there, Charles Kelly's got a couple of safeties he likes, but they both got to be on the field. But again, the defense did its job. This is a 1-point game at halftime. UCLA led just 7-6. And then, well, the wheels came off of the defense, and the offense, I mean, they could not move the ball. If they had a Caterpillar 797 to earth move, it was just bad. We're talking about sacking Shedeur Sanders 7 times in this game, which brings the total up to 42 all year. But if you're watching this game, you're looking at it going, Shedeur Sanders is running for his life, and it felt like he was getting tackled every single play. It's not true, but you saw 7 sacks and expect to see 14, 21, even 28 based on how that pass rush for UCLA was getting home, which is another way of saying Chip Kelly's got a defense. And Chip Kelly is kind of lethal with a defense. They are flying around the football, making life difficult for other teams, and they got a shot here to go and get 10 wins by the end of this season. A good Arizona team coming up that I think is going to challenge them. I'm excited about that game because Arizona's playing its best football basically since Khalil Tate was playing quarterback for the Wildcats. But getting into what Colorado is or isn't right now, we're talking about just 4-4 after 8 games. It looked until they lost that game to Stanford like maybe they were going to be able to get to bowl eligibility. You blow a 29-point halftime lead, and then this game kind of just bites you with 21 points scored in the second half by UCLA. CU could barely run the ball. I mean, we're talking about 25 total rush yards, and no one broke one longer than 9 yards. Like, it's an anemic rushing attack to say that it's non-existent. And really, if Alejandro Mata was not perfect in 3 of 3 for field goals, we're talking about no points being scored for Colorado until there were 2:48 left to play in the game. Garbage time, basically. The rest of the way, you got Oregon State, Arizona, Wazoo, and Utah. Like 4-8 is not out of the question for Colorado. December 4th, though, that's going to be a huge day for Colorado and Colorado fans because that is the day for which I expect Coach Prime and his staff to go trawling the transfer portal for offensive linemen. He was asked in the postgame, big picture, what do you think about, your offensive line? He said, big picture, you go get new linemen. He said, I'm going to paint it clear for you because it is getting on his last damn nerve that they can't protect the quarterback. Like, he says this a bunch, and I'm just going to reiterate here. It ain't about his kid being the quarterback. It's about you can't protect the damn quarterback, and he's the most important player on your football team. If that dude's not upright long enough to throw the football, you're going to have a problem because that is the most present personal way that you can get into defense's faces. Like, if you could throw the football down the field, then maybe you could run the football, right? But Xavier Weaver actually did play pretty well. Jimmy Horn Jr. showed up a little bit later. Travis Hunter, still Travis Hunter. And I think Michael Harrison's going to be a player. But again, you got to give that dude 2.5, 3 seconds to throw the football, and they can't do it. So if you are an offensive lineman who is looking about going into the portal, you're probably going to get a phone call from the folks down there at Colorado because it feels like they're an offensive line away from being a good football team as opposed to one that's staring down the barrel of 4-8. But again, Oregon State caught an L late last night that influenced the top 25. We'll see how that looks for them late Saturday night when they play that game on national television. They're going to play the most games this season, Colorado, on national television that they've ever played in the history of their program, surpassing the total they had in 1990 when they won a share of the national championship. UCLA, I think, is a great football team. They got an outside shot at making the Pac-12 title game, but they got to win all their games left. They got to get some help along the way. If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.